from PM Pulse Raw. When I say raw, these are raw videos. We don't soup it up. We don't make it very attractive. We just talk about good stuff here. And sometimes our language becomes pretty strong, but that's what happens in a practical world. So user or viewer discretion is definitely warranted here. You would probably at times would not want to use this video in front of your young ones or anybody who's sensitive about a strong language. Having said that, let's get into real project management. Now, the purpose of this video is that there is so much of misinformation and idiocy around project management. And, some of it is because of people like us, like consultants, who create unnecessary jargons and all kinds of bullshit around project management just to sell courses, just to sell an idea, when they themselves do not have a very clear idea what this is all about. So through these courses, we're going to get rid of a lot of this shit, jargons and crap, right? I'm sorry for these words, but I get irritated with the kind of stuff people peddle in the name of project management. Okay, now, one of the reasons why you need to understand very clearly as to why project management is important, and it's going to become even more important as we go along. Now, let's talk about, guys, that in this entire world, there are only two kinds of work. One is projects and one is operations, right? Even businesses are created like this. You could have a business which is 100% operations, like Big Bazaar, Kmart, Walmart, and you have what so many. And then you have a completely project-related business like ISRO, like specific consulting organizations who've decided not to have any kind of a service as a product or any kind of a product or an offering. So they customize. They only do projects. Right? If they don't have projects, they remove the extra people who are working with them because everybody is contractual. Now, from these two extremes, there are a group of people, there are a group of companies which are only interested in a combination of both. So you have matrix organizations. Now, why am I talking about all this while we are going to talk about why project management is important in the future? Let me explain to you this. When you ask your parents, that maybe because you're too young, I was born in the mid-60s, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm way up there, pretty old. So the point is, if you are a young person, you need to talk to your parents, any elderly uncle or somebody in your friend circle or your extended relationship, and ask them which vehicle did they buy and for how long did they keep it. I mean, my first two cars were Ambassadors. We just bought an Ambassador, then we bought another one, and it was just another model of Ambassador itself. One was Mark II, one was Mark IV, and then we shifted to Fiat, and then we shifted to Maruti, which also remained in our house for, nearly 10 to 11 years, and, before we sold it off. Now the car that I have has lasted only for 5 years, and I've just given it to somebody else, and I want to buy a new model. A lot of other people do the same. So what does this mean? This is a thing with everything. We had simpler phones, which had a life cycle of 45 years or so, but now you have cell phones which are nearly as expensive as your motorcycle, but you changed it in just 2 to 3 years, and you don't want to buy the same model. Even if you go back to the same company, you don't buy the same model. Now, what does this basically mean? It basically means that gone are the days for any organization on the face of the earth, no matter how rich they are, how big they are, no matter what kind of market share they have as of today. Gone are the days where you would just sell the same kind of material, same kind of product, same kind of model over and over and over and over again. That's not going to happen anymore. Which means all organizations, every organization which became rich selling operational stuff, right? Operations, manufacturing, they cannot continue to do so. They are all challenged to come out with newer models, with shorter life cycles, with faster time to market, before the idea changes. And that's project. Now imagine most of these companies have spent, 40 years, 50 years. Some of them are 100-year-old companies who've only done operations. And now with this fast changing, fast changing trend among, consumer behavior and demands, organizations are absolutely, ill-equipped to move suddenly from an absolutely functional organization into more towards, organization which produces more projects, give more empowerment to projects. Now, projects happen today in between among various operations, and everybody who's inside or a silo or a function or a department just works on the projects or parts of the project as if they were operational work, and they give more emphasis on their KPIs, which is operational, which is what they're getting paid for, which means the structure of the organization has to change. Everything has to change, even the importance that you give to projects. Everything has to change if you want to survive in this market. And that can never happen based on all the MBAs and IMs that you've done, because they are amazing institutes which only talk about operational excellence. They don't talk about project management. And for that, you need to, understand project management from PMI, from APMC. I mean, these are the only institutes which I respect. I'm sorry, I'm a bit opinionated, and that for good reason. So that's what it is. So the importance of project management is going to keep on improving. It's going to become even more important as we go forward. The life cycle of operations is going to come down. Now, Apple is one of those companies which have embraced this. They have made most of their organization strong matrix, where project managers and the project team have much more power, and the operations team are only there to support projects, right? They don't concentrate on the large life cycle of operations, right? They're more interested in the project life cycle. And that's why they're able to come out with a lot of different varieties of new offerings. This is the basic difference between let's not take the example of Renault. It's still struggling because of different technological reasons. Let's take the example of Nissan. The Nissan GTR. I mean, they have started coming out with so many different kind of models that they have made Toyota so nervous. Are you aware that Nissan is going to overtake Toyota in just a few years? I'm talking about revenues, because Toyota is not coming out with brand new models despite being the richest car company in the world. And the reason for that is you can put a lot of operational quality. You can create the TQM. I mean, hell, man, everything about quality is created by Toyota that we know of. But that's all operational quality. But as you move into projects, they are ill-equipped. Everything is department-wise, so they are not able to produce newer version of cars. Forget about newer models of cars, right? They're still stuck with Corolla, Altis, different versions of Corollas, different versions of this and that. Even look at Crista, Innova. They're very similar. It's just a different version. They're not able to come out with, exciting new models. Now look at Nissan. They have amazing kind of array of models at display, because they know that none of these cars or the models will last a very long time. They have to keep on churning out newer models. That means when Carlos Ghosn started this particular, Nissan all over again, all they did was make it more project management friendly and less operational friendly. That means they made it a stronger matrix where project managers had higher power than operations guys. It's as simple as that. And they trained everybody on project management, even the operations guys, because the job is to support new models, which can only happen through new projects, not the other way around. And that's why everything is changing. Every organization that you can think of is talking about that they are going through a transition. Guys, let's embrace project management, but do not embrace theoretical project management. Go for the real stuff. That's what PM Pulse is all about. Thank you for watching PM Pulse Raw. This is Maneesh Vijaya signing out.